Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I am ready.
WBOY, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
This is WBOY. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Welcome aboard the International Space Station. I have you loud and clear.
Awesome. I'm here live with astronaut I'm here with Dr. Andrew Morgan from the International Space Station. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Morgan.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Can you tell us a little bit about life on the International Space Station, please?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm on board the International Space Station for approximately 9 months. I'm up here with 5 other crewmates. There's 6 of us total living here on board, and we're conducting scientific experiments and conducting maintenance on board. Every moment of our day is scheduled for us. We have mission controls all over the world that help to make this International Space Station program possible. And it's my pleasure to be with you and represent West Virginia on board.
Can you tell us about how growing up in Morgantown shaped you to become an astronaut on the ISS?
Yeah, I tell you that my father was a West Virginia University alumni, and my parents were there at the time when my father was a student when I was born. My father then was commissioned in the Air Force and spent 23 years serving in the Air Force, and we moved around quite a bit. My parents still live in the Pittsburgh area, but indeed I was born in the West Virginia University Hospital.
And you just completed your very first spacewalk just a few weeks ago. Can you tell us about that, please?
I sure did. Just a couple weeks ago, a crewmate of mine, Nick Hague, and I went outside for my first spacewalk and Nick Hague's third spacewalk to install something called the International Docking Adapter, which is an adapter that will allow vehicles containing U.S. astronauts that launch from American soil here in the next year to dock to the International Space Station. And this was an important final step, a milestone step, to install this docking adapter to make the space station fully capable of receiving new vehicles launched from the United States with American astronauts and international astronauts on board.
And what other projects are you working on with your crewmates on the ISS?
Well, the primary purpose of the International Space Station is to conduct scientific research. And some of that scientific research is for the benefit of life on Earth, and some of that is to further our ability to explore further and further into the universe. As some examples of that, just this morning, the crewmate that I just did that spacewalk with, Nick Hague, and I were working on an experiment called fluid shifts, where the astronauts serve as the subject, and we're studying the physiology of how blood flow and the fluids in our body shift as a result of microgravity. And these are things that we need to understand because, as you can imagine, understanding how the human body works for long duration space flight, long periods of time in microgravity, is important for us to go further to the moon and then on to Mars, which are stated goals of NASA. Some of our other scientific research can benefit life on Earth. One of the new payloads that just arrived on a SpaceX vehicle just a couple of weeks ago was something called the Biofabrication Facility, or BFF, which is, you can think of as like a 3D printer for tissues and maybe eventually organs. And the thought is that the ability to bioprint tissues and organs may be easier, or may have more capability to do that in microgravity than if we were to do it on Earth with the effects of gravity.
And how will this lead us to get to the moon by 2024?
Well, NASA has stated that we will be returning to the surface of the moon by 2024. The program is called Artemis. And as you know, we're right now celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Apollo missions, the Apollo landings on the moon 50 years ago. And some of the key features of this new program, Artemis, is that we will do it as part of an international partnership, and we will return to either moon orbit and the surface of the moon for a more permanent presence. So it's an ambitious goal, but it's one that absolutely NASA and its international partners will be able to accomplish by 2024.
And what exactly is the goal of Artemis?
The goal of the Artemis program will be to put the Gateway, which you'll think of as a small space station in orbit around the moon, as well as to put astronauts on the surface of the moon near the southern pole of the moon, and as part of that, establish a more permanent presence there as part of this international partnership, working together to learn more about operations in and around the moon, to learn more about the moon, but also enable our objectives to eventually be able to travel on to Mars and put astronauts on the surface of Mars.
Now, talking personally, what is your favorite part of being an astronaut on the International Space Station?
Well, I view my time on the International Space Station as a great opportunity to serve. I'm an active duty Army officer. I've been serving since I was 18 years old. I made the decision to serve my country, and serving here on board the International Space Station as an Army officer, but also a NASA astronaut, is important to me, and I view it as a continuation of that service. But one of the greatest things about my experience up here is sharing it with some wonderful crewmates, the camaraderie that I have with my 2 other American crewmates, my 1 Italian crewmate, and 2 Russian crewmates. It's a real symbol of international cooperation and how, when we work together, we can do hard things. So that's been extremely rewarding, and if we can represent that for the world, then I feel like our mission is accomplished up here.
And if a student here in the wild and wonderful West Virginia wants to be an astronaut, what would you tell them?
Well, my formula is very simple. I think that the most important thing to do is pursue a career, an occupation that you're passionate about, and then pursue that with excellence. Do everything you can to be the best that you can at that. And then all along the way, it's important to be a great team player. And if you do those things, that formula, it might lead to becoming an astronaut, but it will almost certainly lead to a fulfilling career.
Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Andrew Morgan, from the International Space Station. For 12 News, I'm Scott Sinkoff.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the WBOY portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WDTV.
Station, this is WDTV. How do you hear me?
I heard you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
We are joined now by Dr. Andrew Morgan from the International Space Station. He was born in Morgantown and is on a mission as a flight engineer, a 9-month mission in space. Dr. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about your mission and what a typical day is like for you on the International Space Station.
Absolutely. Our days up here are very busy. They start early in the morning. Our days last 12 hours long. When we wake up, every moment is scheduled, and our days are filled with running scientific experiments on various payloads, conducting maintenance, and of course we have time to exercise as well as a countermeasure to prevent our bones and muscles from weakening while on our time on board. It's every moment is filled and all exciting.
I said you were born in Morgantown. Could you explain to our viewers a little bit more about the connection you have to West Virginia?
Absolutely. My father is a West Virginia University graduate school alumni, and my parents were living in Morgantown at the time I was born. My father then entered the Air Force and spent 23 years serving as an Air Force officer, and we moved around. My parents are originally from the Pittsburgh area and still reside in the Pittsburgh area today, but indeed there is mountaineer blood running through my veins. I was born in the West Virginia University Medical Center.
Mountaineer Country is certainly proud of you. Could you explain the purpose of the mission you're on right now? What ultimately is the goal for you guys up there?
Well, the purpose of the International Space Station program is to conduct scientific research off the Earth for the Earth. Some of the science that we conduct is for the benefit of humans on Earth, and some of it also enables our ability to further explore the universe and to return to the moon in the next 5 years and then onward to Mars in the decades that follow. The International Space Station is also a wonderful example of international cooperation between 15 countries that are part of the International Space Station Program Agreement. And right now I'm on board with 5 other crewmates, 2 other Americans, 1 Italian, and 2 Russian cosmonauts as well. So it's a wonderful example of how we're able to accomplish hard things in difficult places like low Earth orbit, and how we can do them well when we do them together.
What's the most challenging part about being aboard the International Space Station?
Well, it might surprise you, but actually the hardest part is missing my family. I'm up here for almost 9 months, and as you can imagine, any separation from your family is difficult. 9 months is a long time. The fortunate part is I do have good connectivity. I am able to occasionally have video chats with them and call them on the phone. So, you know, we make the time go by, but that is, for me, that's been the most difficult part.
I imagine a difficult thing also has to be eating and drinking. What do you do for food and water up there?
Well, the food and drink is great. We have quite a variety. Each of the different major partner agencies, NASA, the Japanese Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Russian Space Agency, all provide their own food system, and some of our food is freeze-dried, and some of it is in packages, much like military meals ready to eat, where we can just open the package and it's prepared. Whereas the freeze-dried food, we have to add water. We have the ability to chill food. We also have the ability to warm it up. So we have quite a variety available to us, and it's all delicious. But the key to it is absolutely having variety, and that keeps it interesting for sure.
Dr. Morgan, NASA has a pretty significant presence here in our area in Fairmont. What is something you would tell a kid who's seeing that NASA Space Center here in Fairmont? What can they do right now to try and become an astronaut to get in your shoes someday?
Well, my formula was very simple. I chose something that I was passionate about, and for me, being in the military and becoming a medical doctor was what I was truly passionate about. Then the next thing is to pursue excellence in everything you do, and when you find that passion and you go that direction, to give it your best and become the best that you can be at that. And then the last part is to be a good team player, to always be good as a team member or a team leader. And those ingredients have led to a very fulfilling career for me, and I would advise any young boy or girl to do the same. If they pursue that, it can lead to becoming an astronaut if that's what they would choose, but it will almost certainly lead to a fulfilling career.
What's the most fulfilling part of your job and the most entertaining, the most fun part of your job?
Well, it's the most fun, the most fulfilling part is to be able to share this experience with wonderful crewmates from different countries all over the world, but also to share our experience with the world and our family and friends back on Earth. But the crewmates I have are outstanding. We represent all of our different countries and our different space agencies, but together up here we represent one International Space Station program, and that has been truly the most rewarding aspect of this, and I think we're a tremendous example to the world of how we can accomplish difficult tasks when we cooperate together and we do something like this and build this wonderful spaceship orbiting the Earth, where it has been now orbiting the Earth for over 20 years.
It's not every day we get to talk to somebody in orbit or see somebody in a zero-gravity environment. Are there any tricks or anything that you can demonstrate up there for us?
Well, could you float your microphone like this? Or I can fly off the screen like this. And I can try a backflip if I'm really brave. And I'm afraid that's all I have in the realm of tricks.
Certainly more than we could do back here on Earth. Dr. Morgan, we understand you're a Steelers fan as well. Do you cheer on the Mountaineers or do you follow WVU while you're up there?
I do follow WVU. Like I said, I've got Mountaineer blood running through my veins, so you know it will always be a part of me. But I do believe that you're still in Steeler country too. Is that true?
There are a lot of Steelers fans down here, myself included. I understand you have a terrible towel up on the International Space Station. Of course, you have to represent the black and gold up there. That's amazing.
And no hands.
Dr. Morgan, we appreciate you so much. Terrible towel, the Steelers blood in you as well as Mountaineer blood. Thank you so much. Stay safe up there. We look forward to getting you back here on Earth sometime.
It's my honor to represent the state of West Virginia and western Pennsylvania area on board the International Space Station. Thanks for taking the time.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from WBOY and WDTV. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.